hiring challenges on unemployment benefits and warned that an inflationary time bomb will force them to hike Big Mac prices. That's it, folks. That's it. Powell must taper now. Powell must raise interest rates right now before our Big Mac prices go higher. That's the limit. That's the red line. Once Big Mac prices go higher, the show must come to an end. And by the way, McDonald's talk about unemployment benefits. That's the reason why we're having a labor shortage. You know, that extra $300 that you bums are collecting on a weekly basis from the government? Oh, that's the reason for the labor shortage. And I told you in this channel many times before, the so-called enhanced unemployment benefits, aka the $300 you get per week being unemployed, that is not the reason behind the labor shortage. It might be a reason at the very low end of employment, but there are many other reasons for the labor shortage. And you will see in September when the unemployment benefits expire, assuming they let them expire, by the way. That's another loop. God forbid we cut people off from free cash from the government and we lose some votes. You gotta continue to grease them up. But assuming, hypothetically speaking, that they let the unemployment benefits expire in September, you will see that businesses will continue to struggle with labor shortage. When potential employees are asked, why did you reject an offer, a job offer, in the past 6 months? 36% say the salary was too low. 35% say they're concerned about COVID. 31% say need to care for my family. What does that mean? It means there are a lot more reasons, many more reasons, for the labor shortage beside the $300 that the bums are getting per week. The salaries are garbage. The work environment is garbage. We're overworked, underpaid, and we had it. We're seeing videos on TikTok with kids quitting and Burger King and McDonald's. They're done. They're watching other kids making an insane amount of money, trading stocks on Robinhood, making cute videos on TikTok, and selling pictures of their feet on OnlyFans, making thousands and thousands of dollars. People are concerned about COVID. Now we have Delta. What's next? Who's next? A lot of moms left the workforce to care for family and kids at home. In addition, a lot of workers just had it. They're done. Wages are garbage and not keeping with inflation at all. And now some 22.3 million Americans recently received counseling or therapy from mental health professionals, an increase of more than 5 million compared with last year. Workers in general lost it. They're done with this garbage. They're done with corporate slavery. And now we're seeing a record number of Americans quitting their jobs, leaving altogether. We're done with this insane housing bubble, inflation all over the place. You find a van, that becomes your home, and you live the nomad life. Take a break. Work on your mental health. We're not talking about Simone Biles here. We're talking about people getting paid $50,000 a year, if you're lucky. Folks, inflation is rising all over the place. And even as your wages increase, they're struggling to keep with the actual pace of inflation, not the CPI pace of inflation, the actual real pace of inflation, the increase in prices that Powell dismisses as, yeah, that's going to rise higher, but who cares? Key inflation indicator jumps 3.5%, the fastest rise in 30 years. 30 years. Yet we have some geniuses over at CNBC, the Fed's apologists, even certain YouTube personalities spreading propaganda that, oh, the risk is for deflation. There is no inflation. Once again, the fastest rise in 30 years. You better pray, as long as you can, that Delta will indeed be a massive problem and slow down the economy, to slow down the pace of inflation. That's your only hope. Delta. This is yet another piece of news, a disturbing piece of news that we got this week. U.S. home prices rose the most on record in Q2. The median price of existing single-family homes jumping 23% year over year. About 94% of the 183 metropolitan areas measured had double-digit gains, up from 89% in Q1. Wow. Barron says, Disco Inferno, the U.S. could be headed back to the 70s style stagflation, only this time around with the worst taste of music. And even the IMF is now sounding the alarm. IMF warns that inflation could prove to be persistent, and central banks may need to act. Oh, you think? What is the point of all of this, by the way? What is the end game for the Fed and other central banks across the world from this reckless monetary policy? What is the end goal here? Perhaps the end goal from the get-go was to make the rich richer. Why is this so hard for you people to understand? The Fed says our mandate is full employment and inflation. Price stability, my ass. The real mandate of the Federal Reserve is to prop up, protect, preserve, and inflate the assets of the wealthy, stocks and real estate. How the Fed's fine intentions feed wealth inequality. Fine intentions or true intentions? U.S. wealth grew by $19 trillion during the pandemic, but mostly for the very rich. Surprise, surprise. Oh, and the rich people are having struggles too with this inflation and fake money. Rich people of the Hamptons have a new headache. Even richer people. Oh, the agony. Perhaps we should use some U.S. taxpayer money to build another Hamptons for the rich. One playground is too small. And here it is, folks. Wall Street doubles down on lending cheap money to the rich. Ta-da! This is the end goal and the result, by the way, of this reckless monetary policy. The money, trillions and trillions of dollars, rented out of thin air, magically find its way in the pockets of the wealthy. Combined value of loans made by wealth management units at top U.S. banks in second quarter exceeds $600 billion. And the rich, of course, using the fake money to play in the casino, you know, the game, gambling in stocks and options, creating insane pumps and dumps all over the place. Look no further than the Archegos disaster. The man is a criminal and was blacklisted from every bank in the United States. But somehow, because banks have a problem these days, too much money, and they have to lend it anyways. You think they're going to lend it to you and I? You think they're going to lend it to small businesses, struggling small businesses? Of course not. They're going to lend it to their buddies, the rich. And Bill Wong of Ortega's Capital managed to secure billions and billions and billions of dollars. And he used those billions to manipulate the stock market, pushing stocks like Viacom, for example, to cartoonish levels, pumps and dumps, leaving mom and pop investors as the victims, while these rich wipe the slate clean, they pay a fine here and there, and they're out on their way enjoying freedom. And here comes the propagandists. Watch out here, by the way. Watch out for the talk about inflation. You're gonna get banned. You're gonna get canceled. You're gonna get gagged if you talk about inflation. What inflation? What are you questioning the agenda out of our deal leaders? How dare you? He was a famous propagandist, a classic one. His name is Paul Krugman, and he says in the New York Times, "Don't let inflation and anxiety undermine our future. Come on, a little inflation is good." Why is this propagandist even saying this? Here's the reason. Everything has become political these days, including inflation. They did it with vaccines. God forbid you question the holy vaccines. God forbid you ask the propaganda minister, why don't you just release the breakthrough cases in the White House? Propaganda minister says, why do you need that information?
Impact of individuals who may have, as you said, breakthrough cases.
Why not just provide the number? Are you trying to hide something?
No, but why do you need to have that information?
In case of transparency, the interest of the public,
And now the BlackRock administration is under a lot of pressure because nearly 80% of Americans, 80%, blame the BlackRock administration for inflation surge. According to a poll, 80% of Americans are going to blame Biden for this inflation. Now, you and I are smart enough to understand this. Inflation has always been a monetary phenomenon. It is happening due to the actions out of the Federal Reserve, not the federal government. Of course, the reckless spending out of the fiscal side is also adding fuel to the fire, but the origin, the source, is the monetary policy. Whether it is the BlackRock administration or its predecessor, the Goldman Sachs administration, inflation would have risen higher regardless of which administration is in power, because the source of inflation is always the monetary policy, aka the Fed. And finally, does the chairman of the Fed even recognize that his policies are creating the largest wealth inequality gap in history? Of course not.
According to federal statistics, the upper half of the American people take home 90% of income, leaving about 10% for the lower half of Americans. Where are we headed in this country in terms of income disparity?
The Fed doesn't have direct responsibility for these issues.
I hope you enjoyed your daily dose of FUD, as the imbeciles say, otherwise known as your daily dose of reality and sobering truth. But some can't handle the truth, as Colonel Nathan Jessup said. We are accustomed to the happy Hollywood ending, that at the end everything will be alright, the hero will pop out of a comic book to save the day. But what if the hero f***s up? What if the hero already f***ed up? What if I told you that 70 years from now, when we're all dead and gone, they will look back at this period as the moment that changed history forever? As the greatest experiment in financial history implodes before our eyes. It has indeed succeeded in creating the largest wealth inequality gap in history. It succeeded in creating the greatest concentration of wealth in history in the hands of a very selected few. But it has failed to create anything tangible or sustainable, and left most far behind to face a grim reality of a dire economic future and a fading glimmer of hope and opportunity. As the reckless monetary policy collides with once-in-a-lifetime pandemic and disturbing weather phenomena, leading to a perfect storm of inflation and shortages. Food and shelter security is becoming increasingly difficult for those left behind, creating grievances that will lead to political chaos, disrupting the world order and replacing it with a new one. We are indeed living in a unique moment in history that will shape the rest of our lives and hand the next generation darker times. This has been your daily dose of reality.
An ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree. Shut down. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Turret plating will fall soon. Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain. turret.
Appalling, me feeling goddamn fine, yeah. Shaking, making friends and betraying, straight pretending, acting fake, a snake resembling apple tasting, Satan's in and masturbating in the mirror, smirking and he's laughing at you. Smiling like a season jerk, he's tired but seems alert. Why sleep at night if he's got time to sleep at work? He pretends to listen close, of course, hopes that all the cameras don't catch him dozing off. He votes for most of laws, eyes closed, they don't concern him, but knows where to vote for certain. If they fuck with the dough he's earning, his buddies discreetly discuss the secret businesses in exchange discuss the pictures of their recent mistresses. His wickedness consists of robbing rich gangs, stacking enormous amounts in order to count up his Swiss banks. His wife gives him a kiss, thanks. Son, you're great. He bought her a boat with the paper stolen from the state. His kids adore him, he's for 8 adolescents. They all horse riding or take piano lessons. His mansion is lovely and it is comfy. He bought it with the gun sold in African countries. Shaking, making friends and betraying, straight pretending, acting fake, the snake was on an apple tasting, Satan's in and masturbating in the mirror, smirking and he's laughing at you. Cause he's a devil in house. Lights, camera, action, you on. The bastard's on point, but his grammar, his posh accent is strong. Blush painted on his cheeks, white teeth for showing. Blah, 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 the guy keeps on going, knowing this more rhetorical speech is some easy bull. Tell you what you wanna hear, make it believable. People don't understand jack shit nowadays. If they do, he don't give a fuck anyways. Ryan is the business, he masters in the art. His tactics are sharp, cameraman's a witty short, but got the home of the fucking gold trapped up in the dark. He's fooled everyone, everywhere he's ever went. These kind of witty men have got the balls to become president. One day he will be for real PUC. You'll probably vote for it, but he won't fool me, motherfucker.
Nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to see. The table is tilted, folks. The table is rigged.
has been destroyed.
Synonym of pressure is blocking my breath. Every office is occupied, no oxygen left. Every yard seconds a rush. We never stop before death, but I never trust the soul when we watching up death. Never go by a fool, an emoji in school. Gotta grow up, be useful, gotta know what to do. Gotta show up, be cool, gotta go up, be cool. Gotta reason with a right tone if it takes going up through. The job here, where our people work, to feel passes up, how up your paperwork. Peek over the fence, better pick up on the latest norm. The grass always so greener on your neighbor's lawn. Go get a new gadget, cause life's improving. In a few months it'll die and you'll buy a new one. Approachable, moving song, keep up to date, but never put your feet up. Time don't freeze up and wait. Can't ease up, gotta work hard, gotta feast off your pay. But you ain't got time to eat all the meat on your plate. Information, phone calls, TV on all day, and the painting will dictate what to do, what to say. Gotta get away, gotta get away. Modern say man, always gotta make man. Gotta can't stand when he got the Brady, hates moderation. Can't stop the fake patience, carry on this thing, emptiness, time behind it. Never catching on blindfolded, you never want to think, never wanna cause unnecessary. No marathon you sprint, ain't no fair accomplishment. Every kid's got a fight, mother gotta teach you to crush others. You can get what you like. Governments feed minds with sick thoughts and lies. You gotta get up that ladder, but you get squashed like flies. You all speak to lie, thinking about you, dropping by. I push my kidneys with just piss off and die. Society's neurotic, I won't let me be. I've tried swimming up that current, screaming set me free. But nobody wanna listen, they lecture me. So I take a random direction and run hectically. And I'm sick, gotta get away. Mother Nature's my shrink, gotta punch the air, scream my rage. Say what I think, I'm no better than you fools, but I follow no leader. you gon' bust. Don't panic. Don't panic. je reste pro dès que je me chauffe. On me dit c'est du sale ce que vous venez de faire. Ma procession pour être clair, mis vos chances. J'ai moins de chat qui le Geffner. Plongé dans le noir, je me sens seul chaque soir. Y'a que mon foie que je noie. Ils disent tous que l'amour est avec, donc au final je ne crois que ce que je vois. Tu veux t'en sortir, c'est beaucoup de rage et de stress. On détruit la santé à vouloir que j'espère. De mes galères, j'aimerais vous voir mes frères. C'est au putain de putain de tournoi de l'extrême. J'entends des histoires de couchage et de bêtes. Mais peut-on trouver au roule, courage d'être belle. Car des femmes à poil sur les boulevards qui exercent. Et des jeunes qui se piquent dans des couloirs très spéciaux. Beaucoup de lâche et de stress. Ça s'appelle pas Jimmy la liste, c'est pas le boulevard express. Vis des gens noirs comme un couche, c'est d'un coup, je suis que sous là, je suis pas un chien. Mais pour savoir si t'es un trou de balle, j'ai le flair. Bienvenue dans le coin, ou même sur pour moi là je picole. Je décale dès que j'ai le mi-père. Je dis que les médias car je les apprécie car ce ne sont que des vipères. Ici un SDF qui meurt dans le froid, mes cafés d'hiver. Tu sais qu'on est loin des paillettes et des strass. C'est peut-être pour ça que m'enfuis même des stress. Donc ma forme régresse à chaque jour au kippage. Je prends chacune de mes claves comme une fusée détresse. C'est nos cicatrices qu'on recoupe. Les cœurs sont glacés, tu trouveras pas de chaleur. Le temps joue contre nous. Ça fait des années qu'on passe des sales quarts d'heure. Les hommes politiques nous endorment à leur manière avec un plein de belles paroles qui font l'effet d'un somnifère. Faut qu'on libère nos consciences de ces bâtards et des médias qui nous divisent et nous séparent alors que j'étais solidaire. C'est la folie, ça t'affole de cet enfer. Faut que tu t'enfuis le vice te fait même si t'es fait tes affaires. Vis vite, c'est pas la peine. Tu t'en fais les putains qui n'ont ma queue l'encre de mon pique sur ma tête.
Gonna be alright. Oh. Gonna be alright. Oh.
out there in a big world. It's just
Your team has destroyed a turret. An enemy has been slain.
Most common introductory questions in the world. What do you do for a living? When asked this question, many people are quick to respond with their job titles. But if you think deeper, that is the wrong kind of answer. The basis of this question is more complex than it seems. What do you do for a living is more like, how do you help contribute to society? In what ways do you help improve, regulate, and create? If you're a builder, well, then the answer to such a question is relatively simple. You can see the outcome of your efforts daily. As you erect houses, offices, or buildings, the result of your hard labor can be visualized, and the final result is tangible. Whether you believe it or not, completing a building project achieves something valuable and real. But if you're a middle manager at a large marketing department, the answer to this question may be much harder to figure out. What tangible value are you bringing to the world? To understand, we first need to get a history lesson. This conversation was originally brought to the mainstream when David Graeber wrote his infamous book called Jobs, a Theory, back in 2013. It was a book that technically should have no place in a capitalistic society, a book to discuss the rising phenomena of useless jobs. In his writings, Graeber defines a BS job as paid work that meets two conditions. The first is simple. The job has to be so completely useless and unnecessary that even the employee himself cannot justify the position's existence. And second, as part of the work relationship, the employee and his or her colleagues, even though they feel their job is useless, act as if it's important. If that description matches your current position, don't worry. You are not alone. Here's a clip of David Graeber. From a 2018 presentation where he talks about just how commonplace this type of work really is. Take a listen.
This kind of thing. And I realized that there's a